Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we will be comparing the infamous Brewdog and Aldi beers. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello.
And we are two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. All right,
Brilliant.
so today we are comparing the Brewdog and the Aldi beers. Right, so if people haven't heard about this, Tori, what are we going on about?
So there is that big controversy when somebody went in, I don't know who, because it's just gone out there. Someone went into an Aldi and posted a photo of this anti-establishment IPA and sort of tagged Brewdog in it, going, yeah, I don't know what they're playing on at. There was a lot of speculation. This was early August, mid-August, I believe it was. Lots of speculation going on as to what it was. Was it actually Brewdog? Did Aldi, can't take their recipe? Because, there's the books that they've put out. They've put their recipes out there. So I've seen some conspiracy theorists stating that, oh, well, Aldi just took their recipe and did what they wanted with it and put it in their own can. And, this is a challenge to Brewdog and, fisticuffs and all that. What's funny is 4Pure, who's macro, we don't talk about them, but that's the 4Pure logo.
That's really sick. I thought that as well. When I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, it does look like a Brewdog beer, but also it looks like the 4Pure logo.
Yeah, they've taken the 4Pure grain and just done it ×3, basically. So I saw a lot of theories out there of, Aldi's trying to throw their hat, so they're just mishmashing everything to get the visibility to be a recognizable thing for people. That was one idea of what had happened. I've got my own ideas of what I think happened, but that was sort of the back and forth, and I think we waited very tensely for, maybe it felt like 2 weeks, maybe it was a week, I don't know, but it felt like the conversations were absolutely kicking off. And then on the 20th of August, we got a tweet from James stating that, we're going to do a Yald IPA with a can, very similar to how it ended up. This is the final, which is old IPA.
Old IPA.
But he had done Yaldi. Aldi had tweeted back saying, well, we would, if it were us, we would have just called it old IPA. So on the 21st, the next day, they came back saying, don't worry, we've redone the label and here you go. It then went back and forth for a bit of the Twitter beef that everyone appreciates. And it turns out they've struck up a deal spontaneously, totally unplanned, depending on who you ask. Very surprising. Aldi agreed to stock Brewdog, which is a bold move, because I think a lot of people originally, when the first photos went up, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong on this, a lot of people said that Brewdog had always said they weren't going to sell in Aldi or Lidl or anything like that. So that was mentioned quite a few times. There's no way it's a Brewdog thing that's happening, because Brewdog would never sell an Aldi. Well, they are now. So that was sort of the bit of a history behind history.
It may well be that they said that originally, but that was before COVID. Everybody's making money how they can make money nowadays. So, if supermarket's going to stock your beer, keep your business afloat,
you're going to take it.
You're going to take it.
Especially if you're like Brewdog, you're already in supermarkets. Yeah. So you're not going to say, this is going to damage me, because it's just covering more of the market, maybe. Yeah, but it was a lot of back and forth on that. That was very interesting to watch. It was really interesting because my view on it, I'll give you my take on it, which I think a lot of people share. I don't think that this was not pre-planned. I very much think this was a pre-planned marketing campaign.
It feels like it, but they're saying that it wasn't, that it is just completely spontaneous. If it is, and they got on it real quick, and there were some good old negotiations, very quick negotiations going on. It feels like it was just a very nicely orchestrated.
Yes, it seemed like a very orchestrated, a very oh, look at what's happened. This is crazy. We didn't anticipate this happening.
Well, but at the end of the day, we've got some delicious beer to drink, so let's not worry about it.
Yeah. So that all happened. That was very interesting to watch go down, I think.
Yeah.
And what resulted obviously was Aldi IPA. So today, I thought between the two of us, I think we thought it would be quite fun to just do a mini episode comparison of we've got Punk.
Yep.
The traditional. Well,
we've both got bottles.
I think that's what you can really kind of get now, can't you? Yeah, the semi-original.
The original.
Punk
the original.
IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The recipe as it is
changed.
now. Yeah. Before people start, that it's not the original recipe. The
recipe
original, as it is today. Yeah.
Yeah. The original current recipe.
Yeah.
We've got the Anti-Establishment IPA.
Yep.
We've got the Brewdog and Aldi IPA.
We do.
And we've got the Brewdog Double Punk, just as an added bonus, not really to compare so much, but just for fun.
Just rounds out the set quite nicely. I would have thrown in Funk versus Punk as well, but Tori's not got it.
I couldn't find that. But I do have a Brewdog glass.
Oh, I see. I've brought my tasting.
You got your
glasses.
tasting.
I didn't bring mine. I've got my Brewdog sign in the back though, so.
That counts. I was wearing my Brewdog jumper, and then I took it off because it was a bit. I didn't really need it. But fun fact: I did this. You know that I did this. A blind taste test. Somebody on Instagram, I think his name's Beerfaff, asked me to do it blind. So I basically had my husband pour Punk, Anti-Establishment, and Old IPA into 3 glasses while we were on holiday, and put a box over it. And I came in the room after he had finished that, tasted them all. Well, did a guess based on look and a guess based on smell and taste, and I managed to get them all right. And I was very, very proud of myself.
Yeah, I don't know whether I could pick out Punk. So I don't think I drink enough of it to be like, yep, that's Punk.
I think we'll see how you feel at the end of this, because I'll be interested to know how you feel at the end of this.
Yeah.
And I won't say why, because I don't want to ruin it.
Okay. All right. We've started with our Punk IPA.
Yep.
It is a nice, bright, clear yellow, fuzzy white head. Nice tropical hop aroma.
Yes. Mine doesn't have so much head on mine, to be fair, but I think that was more to do with my
It's not a massive head, but just enough to keep your aromas in. Bit of vegetal hop on the nose there. I don't remember that being there before. They're obviously hopping it more.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just pick up on it more nowadays.
I think you might be picking up on it more, because it has, I think there's almost less fruit in it than I remember there being, or when you have it on tap, it almost has a bit more fruit to it in the bottle. I think it kind of has a bit more hop to it.
Depends on when it was bottled as well. Can we see that on the date?
Fair. I don't know.
Doesn't say. I can't see.
Mine's all written in Japanese.
Yeah, it's mine actually. Yeah, so's my label is Japanese. Brilliant.
It's quite, for anyone that's watching, there you go. It's got, I'm assuming it looks like kanji, but it could be something else. But
because I suppose if you have it at the bar, then it's pretty fresh.
Yeah.
So this is going to have sat there for a little bit.
And to be fair, it almost kind of tastes different than it did when I did my blind taste test. So this might actually change it as well, because I got more bitterness on the one that I did in my blind taste test than I'm getting off of this one. I don't taste the bitterness as much in this, but on my blind taste test one that I did, the bitterness was very noticeable.
Yeah, I'm getting bitterness up front, bit of resin.
Yeah,
bit of fruitiness on the end. It's nicely sessionable.
Yeah, I would say that's stuck to kind of how it's always been, in the sense of it's just a sessionable beer, isn't it?
Yeah. Do
you remember when you had your first Punk?
I want to say it was about 2012, and I got it from Tesco's.
Just on chance, or did you go in like?
No, just on chance. Like I was just browsing the beers, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" Because I was still on cruise ships at the time, so I'd been trying beers in America, and I would, when I came home, I would go to, because this was before like you could get everything on the internet, and before I knew that there was where independent bottle shops and stuff were. So I was going to Tesco's to get my beer. And so my staples after having drunk all the American stuff, I was trying to find something like that over here. And I was having to deal with, I was getting whatever ales were in the supermarket. So I was drinking Witchwood and things like that. I still got a bit of a soft spot for Witchwood beers because they got me onto this, part of my path onto beer. And then there was Punk IPA, and I was like, oh, let's try that one, And it's based on American IPAs, so you're like, oh, that's a bit more like what I've been drinking over in the US.
So yeah, I got into like a bit of a back and forth with somebody about what type of beer Punk was supposed to be, because and this is kind of a bit where it like varies, because my bottle right now isn't bitter. The one that I had when I was up in Whitby, a week or so ago, had a lot more bitterness to it. And the double Punk that I tried previously a few weeks ago was very bitter. So I'll be curious to see what it tastes like today. And then I was told, well, yeah, that's because it's brewed to be a West Coast IPA. That's why it's so bitter. And I was like, I can't find anything to state that this is supposed to be. I assumed it kind of had qualities of both coasts, and it was just called an American IPA. So my standpoint was, I just thought, well, they're brewing something that kind of takes things from West Coast, takes things from New England and puts it together. And that's why you've got kind of some like the fruity elements and the bitter elements and everything. But apparently I've been told not by anyone in Brewdog that it's supposed to be a West Coast IPA. What's your thought on that?
I mean, if somebody asked me, I don't think I'd have said, oh yeah, that's a West Coast. I'd have just said it's an American IPA, because West Coast IPA is a designation that people have given it. But like in official terms, American IPA is what you're going for. Like, I feel like this might have been around before New England IPA was really a thing.
Yeah.
So it's, it's not taking from New England IPA, because that wasn't even a designated thing at the time. It's just an American IPA, which means it is an India Pale Ale brewed with American hops and is therefore more hoppy. So, you can call it a West Coast if you want, but I don't think when they were making the beer, they were going, that's what we're going for. I mean, maybe they were, but I would have just, I would say, because a West Coast needs a bit more malt to it, I would say.
Yeah, whereas this just doesn't have that.
Well, I mean, just an American IPA, which means the thing is very hoppy.
I've never seen Brewdog kind of shy away from calling something a New England IPA or calling something a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
So at the time, West Coasts were sort of the go-to of what a lot of people were doing, because like you said, I don't think New England's were really around, at least at that scale.
I mean, they may have been. I don't know whether they would have been over here.
I don't think. I was told, and obviously I don't really know the background on it because I'm not, and I didn't dig into the background on this because obviously I wasn't over here. But I was told that over here, kind of West Coast was the style, and that's why supposedly this has gone for this West Coast type of style. However, Brewdog have never really shied away from putting that label on their things. So even if at the time it wasn't West Coast, I would have thought that at this point they would be changing it to describe, on the label as a West Coast, and it just doesn't say that anywhere. It just says postmodern classic American.
And again, we could be wrong, but I feel like Brewdog's mission is to bring craft beer to the people, so they're not shying away from giving you accurate names and descriptions because they want you to know about it as much as they do.
Agree. I feel like now I've just caused controversy. People are going to be. People are going to be. Don't worry, they're going to be Instagramming me like, how could you even say that, and how could you not check that with James Watt?
Hilarious.
Very controversial tonight.
Hilarious. I love it. Funnily though, after I tried it in Tesco's, I then remember quite distinctly seeing it in a fridge in Skagway, Alaska.
Yeah.
And this is before they were in America. So this was, I'm on cruise ships, so I go to random places. And Skagway, Alaska is like literally a street between two mountains. That's probably doing it a proper disservice, but that's always how I've it's like a proper old gold brush town.
I know.
And there's this one, and so there's this one little liquor store where we used to go and get beers, and then we'd go on a hike and go and sit in the woods and drink. There's a lovely little cove where you'd see seals and things, and it was lovely. But in this fridge, along with a bunch of really interesting American beers and some Belgian beers, was Young's Double Chocolate Stout and Punk IPA. And I just remember thinking, wow, I just picked that up in Tesco's at home, and no, it's all the way out here. And this is before they were even brewing in America. So I feel like this liquor store in Alaska just had some really random beers in it, and it just happened to have Brewdog.
Pre-sustainability, because obviously we covered the sustainability last time, and they brew now to keep their unnecessary travel down. And knowing where Alaska is, oh my god, that is so unsustainable.
Right, yeah.
But that is an interesting.
It was really interesting just seeing these random UK beers in a fridge in Alaska.
I know you.
I know you. I had you when I was at home last. Hilarious. Right, let's crack open this anti-establishment then. The thing is, if you haven't seen the old style Brewdog labels, then it doesn't. You wouldn't recognise it much, because when you've got it next to the new labels, showing it on the video, the new labels are quite different. But if you had it next to an old label, then old style label, you can see.
I would say obviously you get it from the color palette that they've used,
and
obviously the name being like Punk Anti-Establishment.
Yeah, definitely.
I did laugh at it. It made me laugh quite a bit when I saw that. But no, it definitely looks more like their old style label before they switched to their current marketing.
Compared to
you've got them next to each other.
It's a darker yellow, and it's clearer. There's a little tiny bit of haze on the Punk.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But I didn't think filtration.
So that's pretty much kind of what I said in what I wrote. Is I kind of said that this was slightly lighter in color, slightly clearer in consistency of it, and there was a bit on the one I had. It was a bit better head on the anti-establishment, which caused me, from when I guessed look-wise, I had this unconscious bias that obviously the original was going to have like this really good head on it and everything. So I looked at it, went, that head's really good. I bet that's Punk, until I smelt it.
Yeah, right. So remembering from what I remember seeing the last time I had a Punk, if I was just looking at it, I would have said that the anti-establishment is the Punk, because it's darker colour and it's got a nicer head. But you smell it.
It's very malty.
It's not got a very pleasant aroma. I'm not very pleased with that.
I think it smells very malty, but not in the way you expect. Not in the way that we've gone, oh, maltiness, that smells good. It just smells a bit flat, like a bit flat malt.
It's just a bit cereally.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of, I'm getting a bit of cabbage.
Cabbage?
I'm getting like a vegetable.
I wouldn't have if you didn't get in my brain and go, it's broccoli. Like now, that's what I look out for, is like broccoli smells.
Yeah. I don't enjoy the aroma of this, and it's not got a lot of flavour to it.
I didn't even dislike the aroma until you've now, not now, but when I originally did it, I was like, yeah, it's all right. No. It's fine. Until now you've put cabbage in my head.
Get it next to the Punk and it's not pleasant.
And yeah, it has like that overly like malty sweetness, but like in a very unbalanced way.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, the second I tasted them, I was like, hands down, this is definitely not Punk. And when I tasted the bitterness in the Punk, I was like, there we go. Like the smell and the taste totally. I looked at it and went, that's got better head on it. It looks a bit more appealing, even just mildly. So that one's got to be Punk. And then I tasted it and was like,
nope.
Absolutely not Punk. Like, no. And to be fair, caveat, I've seen the photos of the Old IPA, so I knew for a fact, and we'll get into that, but I knew for a fact that which one was Old IPA, which was Old IPA. With these two, I was like, they look similar enough, but the second you taste them, no. I think the Punk is a lot fresher tasting, and the anti-establishment tastes a bit more flat. For my taste buds, I know some people kind of prefer it over the Punk. But...
yeah, I mean, I could understand why you would enjoy this more. I personally don't. It's more malty. It's not got a lot of fruitiness to it. If you like something Like, this is exciting. The punk is exciting. It's got fruitiness, it's got bitterness. If you just want something quite simple, then the anti-establishment is your beer. Like, I'm not rating it. She says going to go drink it again just to double check, but no.
I mean, this is the thing, is like I'll still drink it. I'm not going to
go, if I was given it, I'd drink it, but
yeah,
I'm not going to go out my way to buy it again.
Exactly. It wouldn't be like my go-to to try, really, if I'm honest. But then I guess for me, I kind of feel that both I think it also kind of has to do with my level of taste buds now, where it's funny when you have it originally and you go, oh my God, that's amazing. And then when it's on draft at Brewdog, I still kind of think, yeah, it's good, because it's fresh. But I go back to these on the bottle now and I go, my taste buds have moved on so far from these now that honestly, I think they're both very meh and unexcitable to me. But if I was going to try to get somebody into craft, I'd still go for it because I think it's gentle enough to ease somebody in.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Right.
Just chug that so we can move on.
We are swiftly moving through these beers, listeners.
This is just a mini episode.
Yeah.
Right? We're
not getting too into these. Just to give you a little understanding of what the differences are between the four.
I've already written about an 8-minute read long piece on it. Don't know how much more I can say on it. So I'm going to be honest.
Oh.
This is my least favourite out of all of them.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
So we'll wait until we both are ready to drink it. But yeah, I'm going to tell you while you smell it. The reason I don't like this as much is nothing to do. I'm not saying this is like a poorly executed beer. I'm not saying that there's not people that love it. For me, I'm not big on the heavy guava smells. And to me, that's like the guava smell has a very like sulfuric smell to it. And this smells very guava heavy, and the taste to me matches the smell. And I don't know if it's just my taste buds or what it is, but I don't mind guava when it's got a nice mix of flavors in there, when it's amongst a lot of other tropical flavors. But to me, this is just too guava heavy in the smell and the taste that for me, I really wouldn't choose to have it again.
I don't mind it. It's quite refreshing. In colour, it's very light, very light,
very pale,
yellow, really pale. It's nice and clear. Some fat bubbles in there. It had quite a big fluffy head on it, but that's gone quite quickly when I started drinking it. Yeah, lots of guava.
Yeah. And I think that for me is the one thing that was just a turn off to me, because I know there's a lot of people that are like, it's really nice. Like it's, not the best beer, but it's very sessionable. I would have this as my, fridge fillers, what have you. And for me, the only thing is just, it's not to my taste. It's not a bad made beer. It's just not my taste bud.
And I was thinking about this the other day, because there's lots of beers that people are like, oh, that's a bad beer. If you don't like it, that doesn't make it a bad beer.
Make it bad.
Just means that you don't like it, which is fine, because we all taste different things. That's literally the point of the craft beer industry, is that there is a beer for everybody. Exactly. And you need to work out what that line is between I don't like it and it's a badly made beer, because there's a difference.
Yes, for sure. I saw an interesting conversation on one of the beer groups earlier today about Untapped and the use of Untapped. And, if someone rates something a 1, should a brewery respond to that? Should they ignore it? Should they take that opinion on board, or should they just assume that maybe that person didn't like it or what have you? And somebody very eloquently explained the fact that, well, Untapped really is for the user, not for the brewery. And I think a lot of times now, breweries seem to take it as, because I appreciate that there is a knock-on impact on them because of it. But ultimately, if I'm rating something as a 1 on Untapped, I'm not doing it because I think that it's necessarily a bad beer. It might be, but it might just be that I don't like this particular beer, and I want to make sure that I keep a record of the fact that I don't like it. So the next time I'm out, I don't then go, oh yeah, I'm going to go get that again because I can't remember if I liked it or not. And I think some breweries and some brewers can take that very personal and go, what is wrong about my beer? Maybe it's just not to your taste. And I think it's just a disconnect between the two different functionalities of Untapped.
And it's trying, and as well from the brewery's point of view, it's trying to work out, well, should we not make beers like that then because people don't like it? Like they're trying to do a bit of market research, make sure they're not wasting time and money ingredients on beers that people aren't going to buy. But it's really different. Like you'll read reviews where people are like, this was so amazing. It was the best beer of the day.
Best ever.
3. And you're like, 3. What is your scale? Like, what's a 5 then?
Well, that's it. For me, if I'm saying this is the best I ever had, it's a 5. Like, because it's for me, that's on my scale, that's a 5.
Yeah.
If it was one that I'm like, oh, it was really good, it might be in the 4 range, somewhere between 4 and 5. If it was one that I was like, yeah, it's like middle of the road, I'd happily have it again, but I wouldn't go out of my way to have it, that might be like 3 range. And then, kind of anything below that, it's varying levels of like, nope. But I think that was a really interesting thing.
My personal is, it's drinkable. I probably wouldn't buy it again. It's 3.75. I think this is a beer that other people were like, but I'm not that fussed by it. 3.75. I give a lot of beers that I really like 4.75 because they haven't blown my mind. Like when this beer is like, I absolutely love this, I would drink it again. That's a 5. But even beers that I'm like, yeah, I'd drink that again. Sometimes they get a 4.25.
I feel
on my
like
mood.
I'm a really
I try not to give less than 4 if I like it, because I want that brewer to know that it is a good beer. Just then, this like between 4 and 5, that's my personal scale. Like that's got nothing to do with how well you brewed it. That's my personal. Where do I want to put it for myself to remember it?
And I think maybe I'm very harsh with my ratings here.
Yeah, and I think some people are really harsh. Some people are really high.
To me, 3 is middle of the road. So if you're good, but you're not like, I will actively seek this out again, good. Yeah. I will go between a 3 and a 4, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
And if it's something that I will actively seek out again because I enjoyed it that much, it's between a 4 and a 5. And if it's like mind blowing, I want a million of these, your Siren Affogato, you're a 5. Like that is what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, something like this is where I would struggle. The reason that conversation is relevant is because I would kind of struggle with this, because for me, it's not for my taste buds. And I think I rated it like a 3 point something because I didn't necessarily love it. But then I also didn't want to put people off for trying it, because just because it's not to my taste bud doesn't mean that it's a badly made beer. And I think a lot of people are just going, it's Brewdog, and they're combining with the supermarket, and therefore it is awful. It's the worst of the worst. It's just, and I think it gets a lot more hate than I think it deserves.
Yeah, because it's actually it's an all right made beer. Like it's sessionable. It's probably the wrong time of year for it. Like this is a summer beer. It's refreshing. It's fruity.
Maybe that's it as
like
well.
Guava. It's not an out autumn beer. It's a sitting in the sun beer.
I think it's when you don't like guava heavy things and it's cold out, the last thing you want is a guava heavy beer. Whereas if I was in the sun and it was hot out and I wasn't sitting here going, oh, that's very guava heavy, it just wouldn't be the same. Like I'd probably take to it a bit better.
But I'm the same way about coconut. Like I'm not a massive fan of coconut. I'm starting to find my love for coconut. No, see, I don't mind it in certain things. So I am trying, like, usually I'll be like, it's got coconut in it, I'm not buying that. But I'm starting to be like, I'm going to try it because it's varying levels of coconut. I've had some really terrible coconut beers. I asked one of my friends, we were at a Kent beer festival, and I had a coconut stout that watered a plant.
What?
It was that bad. I couldn't finish it. Like there was a pot plant and I was just like, what am I going to do with this? Boop, in it went. Because because the oils in coconut are really difficult to get right, because if you end up with it too much in it, you lose your head retention, and the body of your beer can be quite oily and not very nice on the mouthfeel. And that's what happened with this beer. And I was just like, oh, I can't even finish this. And it was only like a half and I couldn't finish it. That's how bad it was. And it went in the plant. So this is what puts me off for coconut beers, right? But
I think the problem is coconut can be very I've very rarely had a beer that said there's coconut in it or described itself as having coconut tastes, that it wasn't a coconut overpowering situation, because the coconut seems to just overpower everything else that goes in with it. I mean, you can get varying levels, but they're all sort of very mild, and then you get this like massively sharp coconut every single time. My question is, how do you feel though about beers with Sabro in general.
See, but I love Sabro. No, I absolutely love Sabro because that is because it's combined with, it's not just coconut, it's the pina colada element. So it's got a creaminess to it, it's got pineapple, it's got that tropicalness to it. That I love. Coconut itself, not so much, but that, because it's subtle, I find it more subtle coming from Sabro because it's balanced with other things. It's when they actually put coconut in the beer that I'm not that fond of it. But I'm drinking more of them because I'm finding it depends on the balance and whether it is massively coconut or just a balanced bit with other things. So I do try them, but that doesn't mean it's a bad beer just because I don't like coconut.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and that's
how the point I feel like it's not a bad
it's
story.
Not a beer. It's basically the point of all of this, the whole untapped discussion is also we could circle back around and say just because I personally don't like fart smells of sulfur and that's what I feel guava
to everybody else. Honestly, mosaic can't smell like broccoli to me, and guava smells like farts to Tori.
Honestly,
it's the moral of today's podcast.
I think my favourite thing was like the fact that I just kept saying, like, I was trying it, and my husband had some of it as well, and I was like, it smells a bit farty, and he's like, I don't understand what you were talking about. I was like, it's a bit farty though, isn't it? And he was like, no. And I went, let me like find some other. I said, is it guava I'm thinking of? So I googled it, and it came up with sulfuric is the smell. I was like, that's probably a better descriptor than farty. And I said it to him, and he's like, oh yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
Ass in general. It's fine.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that was the way to say
it. Like, I don't find that. I just find guava quite tropical.
And that's why taste buds are wild.
Right, because everybody tastes and smells differently.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, I think if it was sunnier out, I'd have a bit better, like, let's go drink this some more.
Yeah, because it's not got pumpkin in it, so it's the wrong time of year.
What is even the point in autumn of having a non-pumpkin beer, says the person that ordered 5 pumpkin Brew York S43s today. There is no point. Double punk.
On that note, we are now moving on to double punk. Now I'm going to preface this by saying I don't really like dippers.
Yeah, and you don't really like. Yeah, mine's lively. Oop, it's happening. It's kicking off. I'm glad I put my tiny rebel beer mat under.
Oh, mine's not very lively.
Mine's literally exploded a bit. It's just Woo. I do like dippers. So to me,
I'm not a dipper fan.
So no dippers for Joanne.
Everyone else can
send me all your dippers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's got the same, to be honest, for me, it looks pretty much the same as what the Punk did, but maybe a slightly lighter. I think it's more.
They're about the same colour here.
Is it?
Yeah, they're about the same. And they've got about the same amount of haze as well.
Yeah, it's just that just enough haze where you can't see through it.
Bit, where it's not completely crystal clear. There's just particles of something in it.
The head's better on mine though now because it was super lively.
Yeah.
I don't really like the smell of it, I'm not going to lie. It smells a bit stale. That's the only way I can describe it, is stale.
It's a bit vegetal hop. Vegetal hop. And not specifically broccoli or cabbage, just vegetal.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I would agree with that, I think.
I don't think it's as bad as the last time I had it, because the last time I had it, I remember it being incredibly bitter.
Mine's still.
It is bitter. It's not as bad as I remember it the last time I had it, but it's that bitter linger, and I personally don't find that pleasant. That doesn't mean it's a bad beer. I just don't like it.
So a lot of people I'd read had given the feedback that it was very, very boozy. And I was like, I didn't get very, very boozy the first time. I got just very bitter the first time I had it. It was just overpowering bitterness to the point that I couldn't taste the heavy booziness if it was there. Yeah. But I know a lot of people's feedback was, it was like basically pouring vodka into a beer.
Oh, no.
This time round, I wouldn't say it's pouring vodka into it, but I would say it's a lot stronger tasting. I still don't like it, but the taste and I like dippers. I do like dippers, is. But for me, it doesn't have like a balance of different flavors in it. It's just very bland with a bit of bitterness now. Last time it was very bitter. This time it's just a mild bitterness, bland taste, hoppy taste, and then just super alcohol-y tasting. And I just don't find the lack of layers in it to be that exciting to me.
I'm not a fan. But other people will find it delightful because they'll enjoy that bitterness, they'll enjoy that alcohol hit. I'm not a fan of that.
No,
I'm going back to my Aldi IPA actually.
I think our mate Helen, who gave us the Gale, who traded us for the Gales, she really likes them.
Yeah, she loves a dipper.
And she loves dippers, she loves tippers, all that. So it's not, for her, it's it's fine. But she liked the Brewdog, the double punk. I don't know if it's just because it gets you drunk fast because of the alcohol content, but yeah, I know there's people that definitely do like it, and some people that are like, I just didn't get the different flavors in it that were exciting to me, and that's kind of how I feel, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree. It's not for me. Doesn't mean it's bad beer. That is
which one's your favourite?
The wonderness of the craft beer industry is that there is something for everybody. I am personally torn between the Aldi IPA and the Punk.
I assumed you were going to say Aldi IPA. Just because you've gone back to sipping it. I assume that one's definitely going to be.
Yeah, but I like both of them for different reasons. I like the tropicalness and the tropicalness of the Aldi IPA, and I like the balance of the hoppy sweet of the Punk.
I will admit that I think the Aldi IPA has gone down better tonight than it did when I first tried it. So I don't know if it was just the night I happened to be trying it. It's like when you eat something and it affects what you've had.
Oh, yeah.
Or something. I don't know if it's maybe compared. I had pizza for dinner tonight. I had Mexican for dinner the night that I had it the first time. Maybe. Yeah. It doesn't like mixing with Mexican food.
Oh. Well, the spiciness of it is probably taken away from the flavors, maybe, of the food, the spiciness of the food.
I think it made it more, whatever the reason. I think it was more sharp in the sense of like the guava and now it's a bit more chill.
Yeah.
For lack of a better explanation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Punk's probably out of the lot the new classic. Punk is probably my favourite out of the lot.
And we all know that Punk got a lot of people on their craft beer journeys, so you got to have a little bit of love for it.
Yeah, despite if you love Brewdog, hate Brewdog, you've got to give Brewdog at least the credit to say that their Punk IPA started a lot of us where we are now. So cheers to Punk.
So. Yay.
Yay.
All right, well, there you go. That's our take on these 4 beers. So get in contact with us if you want to fight us out about how much you love Double Punk or how much you like Anti-Establishment. You can go and buy all of them. We'll let you. So where can they contact you if they want to fight with you, Tori?
If they want to complain. Yeah, if they want to complain about me
West Coast IPAs,
fight me about West Coast IPAs, you can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_hoptimism. And what about you, Joanne?
I am a woman's
Where can
brew.
they fight you?
You can fight me at A Woman's Brew on Facebook and Instagram, and also Love Beer Learning on Facebook, Instagram. We're on Twitter now as well.
Ooh,
I don't really know what I'm doing on Twitter, so come and say hello and tell me what to do because I don't really know. I'm an Instagram girl. You can email us lovebeerlearning@gmail.com, or you can go to the website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Come and find us. We are on all of the big podcast platforms, and we are on YouTube. Come and listen.
Alexa will play us.
You can ask that speaker. I'm not going to say it because she'll start talking to me. So on your smart speakers, you can just ask them to
your
play
smart lady.
A woman, you can ask them to play A Woman's Brew, the podcast, and they will start playing it for you. We've tested it and it works. And please make sure you subscribe so you get all the latest episodes. Come listen to us. Come watch us on YouTube. Come tell us what you think.
And follow Joanne on Instagram just so you can see her crazy cool TikToks now. She makes TikToks now. They're great.
I literally only use TikToks.
I like your TikToks.
I only make TikToks because I can't get audio on Reels.
I love your TikTok. So come
Thanks
visit us and fight us or send us positive reinforcement.
Yeah. Whatever you like. We'll take it all. We don't care.
Brilliant.
So on that note, cheers.